Today, we're going to Salem, Massachusetts. We're going to talk about the history of Salem, and then we're going to visit some of the most iconic places there. The Witch House, the House of Seven Gables, and the burying grounds, along with a memorial for the witches who were hanged in the 1600s. So we're starting our adventure today at the North Station in Boston's North End. We are going to take the commuter rail train from Boston up to Salem. It should only be about 30 minutes. So you start here. You have to have your ticket ready as soon as you get into the station. And once you scan your ticket, then you can walk out to the tracks. There were a bunch of people here from the MBTA today that were super helpful. So that was really nice. I've actually never used this system when I was riding the train. It was totally different. But they were super friendly and very helpful. So we're getting on the train, and this time of year, which is late October, in fact, it's the last Friday before Halloween, there are tons of people going to Salem. But in my opinion, this is the best way to get to Salem because you don't have to worry about traffic and you don't have to worry about parking, which both of those things will be a nightmare. And if you do plan on driving to Salem, just remember that you're probably going to pay $30 to $50 to park if you can even find a spot. And that could be a whole thing. And the train drops you off right in the heart of Salem, where all of the activities are that you're going to be interested in. It's just a few blocks walking over to Essex Street. And, I'm kind of surprised today. It looks like there's a lot of people. This is not really a lot of people. It's about 9:30 in the morning. So I'm sure it's going to get a lot worse as the day goes on. But hopefully it won't be too bad. One of my favorite things about New England is all the history and the buildings here. They're just absolutely amazing. This coffee shop, Curiosity Cat, is one of the places that everybody wants to go. So of course there's a line out front. So we're going to avoid it. But this is Essex Street. This is kind of the main thoroughfare for Salem. In October, there's tons of stuff that's going on here, and a lot of the places that you want to see, a lot of the gift shops, there's some museums and activities that you can do down here, and then they also have a lot of street vendors too in October here. So, let's see what we can see. I like this gift shop that's called Moons. I've bought quite a bit of stuff in there. They have a lot of cute stuff in there. All kinds of things. All kinds of very interesting things. I have to admit that Halloween is not really my holiday. I'm not super into all the spooky stuff. I do love Salem though. I love the town and the architecture and the history, and it's always interesting. The people watching here is one of my favorite things to do. So that's why I come early and then I leave early too. There's tons of good restaurants here too. I'm looking for a coffee shop. I don't know which one yet because a lot of the popular coffee shops, they're all going to have massive lines even early in the morning. So we'll try to find a place that isn't too busy. I also think it's really interesting the way that there's this mix of history and then there's a CVS right across the street. It's always interesting. Oh, there's a magic parlor too. Let's see what they have in here. Oh wow. I don't know if you can see that. The glare is horrible, but yeah, that's interesting. Lots of interesting things in here. There's another museum here, the Witch History Museum. The thing about Salem with museums, especially in late October, they're all going to be sold out. A lot of them you buy tickets ahead of time, or you have to stand in line in the morning and just wait and hope that they will have space for you. That's not really how I want to spend my vacation or my day off. If that's what you want to do, go ahead and do that. But to me, I would much rather come down here a different time of year when you could just walk right into the museums. The Red Line Cafe, which we just passed on, it was on the left, is another popular cafe that a lot of people go into. There's a haunted house there as well. Like I said, I'm not really interested in haunted houses. It's not really my thing. I'm really more here for the history, to be honest. We're coming up here in just a few buildings is the Peabody Essex Museum, which, this is, Hex is a famous shop. They have lots of, not really like gift shop-y type of stuff, but more like authentic witchy type of stuff. So if that's what you're interested in, that's the place to go. And this chocolate house is really good too. Okay, so here on the right is the Peabody Essex Museum that I started telling you about. There's a lot of history from the town and the area here around Salem in this museum. I'm a little bit concerned that it's going to be closed because of the government shutdown that's going on right now, and I'm sure that it's run by the government, so we'll see. In fact, I think it was closed last time I was here too. This is the East India Marine Hall. There's a lot of marine history here. There's a harbor that we're going to walk down and see as well. It's actually my favorite part of Salem is the harbor because I love the water. And there's another absolutely gorgeous house here. I think this one's part of a museum, but it is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I love the wall here too. Maybe that's what the fence around my house would look like. Alright, so off to the right over here that you can barely see because of the traffic is Salem Common, which is the Central Park. It looks like there's a bunch of vendors over there. It looks like that's the place to go if you want food. And then in front of me is the Salem Witch Museum. I believe this place you have to stand in line for tickets. And it can be quite a lengthy wait is what I've heard. So yeah, that's the Salem Witch Museum. I have actually never been in there, but I've heard a lot of amazing things. I don't know that I would stand in line, but if that's your thing, that's where it's at. Alright, so I thought that we would take a little bit closer look of the vendors that are over here. It looks like there's Italian sausage, there's waffles and crepes, fried dough. It looks like fair, like state fair food. But there's tons of tables and places to sit down, which is good because there's not really tons of places everywhere else unless you're lucky enough to get into a restaurant. There's a better view of the Witch Museum. Okay, so we are going to head over to the burying ground, which is just 1 block over from Essex Street. When you see this building, you know that you're there. I don't know what this building is, but I mean, it's another one of those 1700s buildings that looks absolutely amazing. So this is the burying point, which was established in 1637. And as you can see, there are some notable people that were buried here. I don't know what it is about old cemeteries, but I always find them fascinating. They're certainly solemn places. I think about all the people that each one of these stones represents, and I wonder what their lives were like. Most times of the year you can go into the cemetery and walk through there. They close it in late October, where you have to have reservations to go in there. But if you go any other time, you can just walk right in. So this area here is the memorial to the witches that were hanged in 1692. Well, not all of them were hanged. They were executed. And that's what this whole section is. This is another place that makes me stop and think, how did these people get accused of being witches? And why did so many people believe that that was true? It makes you wonder why we were taught to be afraid of the witches and not the people that hang them. There's one guy here that was pressed to death. And I had to read his story a while ago because I found that it was so fascinating. I wanted to know how that happens and what it means, what it was. So back in the 1600s, if you were accused of something, in order for your trial to move forward, you had to plead either guilty or not guilty. And this guy, he was almost 80 years old, if I remember correctly. And both him and his wife were accused of being witches. So he knew that if he entered a plea, then he was going to be hanged, because there were so many people that had come before him that were accused. And so he refused to enter a plea. And so their remedy for that at the time, the officials, their remedy for that, was to lay him down on his back and put a board on top of him and then put stones on top of him until he entered a plea, until he changed his mind. And he didn't actually change his mind. If I remember the story correctly, he stayed there for 2 or 3 days, and they just kept putting more and more rocks on top of him. And finally, the officials were like, okay, fine, whatever. Obviously, you're not going to cooperate, so you can go. And by that point, obviously, he had severe injuries. But he was able to go home to his family, and he passed at home. But it was actually a good thing for him and for his family, because he was never actually convicted of being a witch. And if he would have been, then the state or the government at that point would have seized his property. And he had a house and a farm, and he had, these assets that he was trying to give to his kids. And so because he was never convicted, then he was able to pass on all of his assets, which at that time was everything that they had. And he was able to pass that on to his kids. Which it was nice to see that there was some good that came out of that story. But it was really, truly a completely horrifying story. And I can't even imagine having to endure that for 2 or 3 days is absolutely crazy. All right, so we are just a couple of blocks now from Essex Street, and we are walking down towards the harbor. There's another museum if you're interested in seeing the Pirate Museum. There's some fun friends. Very nice. Oh, and there's a pirate coming out too.
The further back you can see, the smaller the structures are to force your perspective.
Okay, so we're just a couple of blocks from the harbor now. Should be just right up here. Does that say donuts? Oh, I think it says donuts. And the place behind it says pizza too. Let's go check out this place and see what kind of donuts they have. Oh my God, look at these donuts. These look absolutely amazing. Okay, I had to get more than a couple. This looks so good. I can't wait. And I have to report to you that it was absolutely the best donut that I've had in a very long time. So this is the old harbor in Salem. Obviously, it's not used anymore, not nearly in the same way that it used to be. It's more of a historical place and an amazing place to walk. You can walk all the way down to the lighthouse, which I think we might do. I've never done that before, but it's such a beautiful day. It's like barely 60 degrees, which is my kind of weather. And there's a really cool looking ship here too. I don't know what that's all about, but that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, the weather's perfect, the sky is gorgeous, and the water is just absolutely beautiful. All right, so we made it all the way out here to the lighthouse. And there's a very interesting lighthouse keeper as well. Very Salem. It's absolutely gorgeous out here, though. I love it. Okay, so this is the old customs house. This is where, when merchants or sailors would bring their goods into Salem, they would have to go pay taxes on it there. And it just kind of seems fitting that one of the most beautiful buildings in town is the place that collects the taxes. Isn't that always how it goes? So we're going to walk down here just a couple of blocks, and we are going to see one of the oldest candy companies in the United States, which is just a small little place. And then also the House of Seven Gables is down here, which if you have not been, that is one of the places that you absolutely should go if you come to Salem. Okay, so here's the candy store in the yellow building across the street. We're gonna go inside and check it out. These are the candies that this store is famous for. They're called Gibraltars, I think is how you say it. But there's tons of candy that they make here and some interesting things. And of course, this time of year there is tons of people, so you bring your patients. This is really awesome. Can you believe this candy jar is 200 years old? I cannot even imagine what it smells like, but it's nice from out here. So this is all of their fudge that they sell, and there's some truffles up there. And there's tons of other truffles here, which is so absolutely amazing. Like, how do you even pick? Okay, so we got all our goodies in the candy store. Then right across the street is the House of Seven Gables. There's actually multiple houses here that you can go through. And I didn't have the opportunity to go this time because, again, tickets sell out very quickly. But I'm going to show you some pictures from the last time that I went with my family. This is the house that Nathaniel Hawthorne lived in, and it inspired his book, The House of Seven Gables. And then this is the house that he was born in. These houses weren't actually originally side by side. The house that he was born in was moved to this property later. So this is what the inside of the house looks like. There used to be this general store, which is what this is, where they sold things like Walmart back in the day, except on a lot smaller scale. And then parts of the inside of the house, there's a dining room. In this room, there's this fireplace that has this hidden passageway in it. That's very small and skinny. This is not original to the house, if I remember correctly. This was something that was in the book. So then they added this to the house because they thought that it would be fun for the tour. And it is fun, except that it's very small and narrow. And I kind of had a panic attack going in there because even though there were people that were about my size that were going through there, I was a little bit concerned. And not only do you go back behind the fireplace, but then you climb the stairs, and they're very skinny stairs. And yeah, it was pretty scary. It was really cool to see how the house was built, though, to see the architecture there and to see some of the tools that they used. And a lot of it is original, which, I mean, is completely awesome. It's amazing to think about people building houses like this in the early 1600s or 1700s. But then there are some things that you can see that make sense, because one of those things is like, you know, how did they get houses level back then? How did they get all the walls straight? Well, they didn't. That's that's what happens. So if you are a little bit OCD like I am, and the walls not being straight sort of freaks you out just a little bit, well, yeah, join the club. I thought the windows were really cool, though. And of course, all the furniture and the floors. I mean, can we just take a second to look at these floors? They're like 18 inches wide. The floorboards are. That's one of the things that I love about old houses, because you just don't get trees like that anymore. This is another chocolate shop that I am dying to go into, so let's go check it out. They have all kinds of amazing looking chocolate in here. Magic Bites. I love all the truffles. How do you decide? So I got some truffles, and now we are headed back into the main part of Salem. So this is a very famous Dunkin' Donuts. There's tons of Dunkin' Donuts around here. It's kind of a religion in Massachusetts because Dunkin' was started in Quincy. But this is one that, because I guess it's so close to where all the action is, they actually decorate it for Halloween, which is interesting. And there's tons of people there too. There was a line of people waiting to get in. So I'm not really that interested in Dunkin'. Although they do have some really cute cups that I was going to try and get one. And I think that they might be sold out, is what I heard. It is really cool that they decorated it, though. It doesn't usually look like that. All right. That is another gift shop, I think it is. Yep, there's a huge line to go inside. And just across the street, once we get around all these people, that is the Witches Museum. And there's going to be a huge line of people outside of that museum. I think this one is the one that's sold out like months in advance, but only for October. Like I said, if you come back a couple weeks in November, you can walk right in, not a problem. So there it is. This is one of the oldest buildings in Salem as well. It's the witch's house. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Anyway, this used to be the house that belonged to one of the judges that convicted all of the accused witches. So it's a huge part of history in Salem, and there's tons of people. They're just everywhere. Okay, so this is the house. This is the one. It's a part of the Peabody Essex Museum, too. So I think you have to buy tickets to go inside, is what it looked like. And of course, there's a line of people trying to take pictures of it because welcome to Salem. Isn't it gorgeous? I absolutely love it. All right, so it's time to head out, but I mean, there's tons and tons of more gorgeous houses around here. I swear I could just wander around this town and look at all the houses all day long. I think I've said that. I think it's time to go.
Sometimes I think that October feels like the most honest month. Everything is changing, the light, the air, the leaves, and we can finally admit that change can be beautiful, even when it is a little bit sad. That's why I always find myself drawn to Salem. There's something about this place that feels like stepping between worlds. The history, the energy, the stories whispered through the cobblestones. People come here for the magic, for witches and spells and legends. But what I see is something quieter. A town that's learned how to own its history, even when the world tried to twist it into something dark. And maybe that's what magic really is, taking back the narrative of who you are. For INFJs, this place feels sacred. It's a reminder that being different isn't dangerous, it's divine. That intuition isn't something to hide, it's something to trust. That our empathy, our sensitivity, our deep thinking, they're not curses, they're gifts. I think that's what draws me here every fall. The feeling of belonging among misunderstood souls who came before me. The reminder that sometimes the world will misunderstand your light, but that doesn't mean that you don't keep shining. As I walked through those streets, I thought about how much we've all grown, how much we've learned to love the parts of ourselves that once made us feel strange. And I wondered, maybe that's the real reason people come to Salem. Not just to chase ghosts, but to find themselves. So if you ever find yourself here, I hope you remember this. You are allowed to be both light and shadow. You are allowed to be your own kind of magic. And all too soon, it's time to go home. Well, I survived Salem and I made it back home. Let me show you some of the things that I got. So this donut place that I went to was absolutely amazing. I had a chocolate covered donut, which was awesome. And then the candy store is super cool. There's lemon and peppermint. Oh, awesome. These are like hard candies. We're gonna try some. And then I got some orange, dark chocolate orange cream. And then this was in the gift shop of the Peabody Essex Museum. I saw in the window that they had jelly cats, so I had to get some. Aren't they super cute? And this one. And then I got this one. One of my friends told me this week I was gonna buy this cup that they have in Salem that says Dunkin runs on Salem. Of course, they were all sold out, but so I showed it to one of my friends and I was like, I'm gonna get this cup. Isn't it super cute? And he was like, cool, you need more stuff for your apartment. I mean, I thought it was super rude. Actually, it was really funny. But, I mean, I think I do need more stuff for my apartment, don't you think? So, of course, when I bought the cute jelly cat, I had to send him a picture and tell him I bought some more stuff for my apartment because I need more stuff in my apartment. All right, and then there was one other chocolate store that I went to, and I forget what these are. They looked really good though. This is their signature almond truffle. And then, these are coffee infused chocolates. So yeah, those are gonna be good too. All right, let's check these out. These are called Gibraltar's or Gibraltar's? I don't know how you pronounce it. So these are lemon. Can you see it? I think you can see it. And there's the story of the famous Salem Gibraltars. Oh boy. It's like a piece of a giant candy cane. You see it? Like a lemon candy cane. Very good. It's like lemon hard candy. That's probably the worst way to sell it. You're gonna have to break that up. So there's 2 lemon and 2 peppermint. It is really good though. That lemon flavor is kind of tart, but also like sweet. So these are the peppermint ones. And it's the same thing. That tastes like a peppermint melt away. It just melts in your mouth. That's really good. Has really good peppermint flavor. Good deal. Well, let's see. What does it say? First candy made commercially in America. America's oldest candy company. It started in 1806. Awesome. Those are really good. All right. So that was Salem. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you are around Boston, any time of the year, really, Salem is a fantastic place to go. I love the architecture. I love the ocean. Any town that's on the ocean is definitely a place that I want to go to. I love all of the old houses they're just so gorgeous. And some of them are like really old there. You can find some from the 1600s there, which is really awesome. There's tons of great places to eat, tons of things to do. If you go at a time that's not October, you can actually go into some of the museums. If you go in October, they're all sold out, or you have to wait in line for a really long time. So yeah, that was Salem. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have not subscribed, make sure that you do and hit the like button while you're at it. And I will see you again next week. We will be back to figuring out my crap apartment, and I'm thinking about painting. I'm kind of scared. I definitely have a lot more organizing to do, and I am buying some bookshelves. Or they're not really bookshelves, they're more like cabinets. So they should be here in the next couple of weeks. So that'll be fun too. Maybe it will actually start looking like an actual home. Won't that be fun?